chaos, carnage, and confusion today in the Middle East. Once again, the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says Israeli forces opened fire on hungry Palestinians who were waiting for food and aid. More than 100 civilians were killed. Israel acknowledges shots were fired, but insists most people were killed during a nearby stampede. One thing, however, is clear. 4 months after the terror attack in Israel, the fighting continues, while most of the world wants this all to end. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger in the newsroom following today's big developments. Josh.
Well, Bill, they call it the fog of war for a reason. It's downright impossible to get a clear picture of what really happened in Gaza this morning. We do know a lot of people are dead tonight who weren't dead this morning, as a war-weary region wonders if this will ever stop. The chaos unfolded around a convoy full of food, a delivery of badly needed goods that ended, according to Hamas, with more than 100 civilian deaths. Civilians desperate and hungry. What are we supposed to do? Asked this man. Where are we supposed to go? Hamas claims Israeli forces fired indiscriminately at the crowd, but Israel has a much different version. The IDF releasing this drone video showing the convoy of 30 trucks, which had just crossed into Gaza, immediately swarmed by an out-of-control crowd.
As they move forward, a huge amount of people stormed and stampeded the truckloads. As they climbed upon, they were pushing, they were shoving, people were trampled and also run over.
The IDF says the convoy was being operated by a private relief organization with no soldiers in sight. But shortly afterwards, some elements of the crowd did approach Israeli tanks. Soldiers fired warning shots to keep them at bay, but they continued anyway, into even more bloodshed.
And we have to keep in mind, this is a combat zone, and our forces are confronted with explosive devices that Hamas terrorists have attached to the tanks, RPGs, weapons, all different types of attacks. So when people that are perceived as a threat continue to move forward towards the forces, despite the warning shots, the threat is still perceived.
The details of this mass casualty incident are still far from clear, but it comes at a tenuous time as the U.S. tries to wrangle a delicate ceasefire and release of more than 100 hostages, some of them American, still being held in Gaza 5 months after the October 7th massacre.
Two competing versions of what happened. I don't have an answer yet.
Are you worried that will complicate these negotiations?
I know it will.
He knows it will complicate efforts at a ceasefire. As for the convoy portion of this tragedy, it isn't even clear right now who was operating those trucks. But even if the IDF wasn't responsible for the trampling of all those people, it does seem no one had stepped up to secure the convoy and prevent that crowd of hungry people from spiraling so far out of control.